I know what you can do.
You know what?
Yeah, I know what you can make.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you all for coming to our second regular council meeting, and if you attended our workshop previous to this, thank you also. I'm going to ask everybody in just a second to stand, and Tim will offer our invocation, and then we will have the pledge of allegiance. So let's do it.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we are gathered today as elected stewards of this city. Guide us to make decisions that are in the best interest of our residents, our community at large, and our environment. Help us to continue to countenance the individual opinion, to encourage participation in a solution that is positive in the Sky Valley community. This season of Christmas and festivals, we ask that you help us to be ever more mindful of each of us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic, and one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. That was a nice invitation. Let's start by approving the minutes from November 2029. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Tim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of these minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now for the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt our agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bruce. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, mayoral and council remarks. I want to thank Bill for running our last council meeting, and he is not here today because he was not feeling well, and we hope he's feeling better. I want to welcome Tim to the council. I didn't get to see him get sworn in, and I know he's going to be a great addition to our group, and we're thrilled to have him. I want to thank our employees and our council members and our citizens who Bob Powers' funeral. It was wonderful, and also for those who attended the new culvert bridge dedication we had morning. That was also touching and a wonderful, wonderful event. Council remarks. Anybody need to make a remark? Okay, let's move on to city manager report. Jason, if you'll please present your report.
Madam Mayor, Council, everybody in attendance, we have one person on Zoom, but I do have some things to report. As we get closer to the end of the year, City Hall has been very busy with a lot of year-end compliance items. Examples are our tree seeding and firewall certification updates. I recently spoke to the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission. As you all may recall, a few months ago, we approved the water mapping that they're doing. They are making progress on that. They have received some digital files they're using. We also provided them with our water meter information to help them build the bones of this mapping system. According to Faith, they hope to be here sometime in January on site to get some field work done. We will coordinate with some of our public works staff to help them do that. And once this thing is complete, it's going to be a basic GIS or geographic information system that we can utilize. And the neat thing about that is that we can use that basis to incorporate other things such as road mapping, floodplain mapping, culvert mapping, etc. So we're excited about that. We are a finalist with PIN. PIN stands for Partners for Inclusive Innovation. This is a program with Georgia Tech. It's an economic development program. Each year, PIN/Georgia Tech, they seek out and they qualify 30 communities within the state of Georgia. And this is a competitive process that would host 2 interns for 12 weeks. And typically, these are interns that are graduate level that are looking to make a career in local government or some type of public administration. And if selected, we would provide internship training. And typically, we work with Penn, Georgia Tech. We identify a couple of projects that these interns would be working on. Typically technology-based projects. We've been working with them to identify some of the projects, and examples include, of course, road mapping that we build on with the water system. A couple things I'm probably here to say as well, but no cost to the city, but it would be, it's great exposure. And actually, Mayor Stiles sent me this a couple of months ago, and we applied, and I was actually pleased to find out that we are on the short list. So that's good to know.
I want to say thank you, Jason. I see all these grant things online, and poor guy, I just sent them to him, and then he has to do all the work and write them all up.
Well, we've been very. We've had a couple discussions with some companies that do EV or electric vehicle charging stations. With the ever increasing interest and demand for electric vehicles. And we also see this as an economic development tool. Having EV charging stations here in the city, I think would be a great asset. From a marketing standpoint, I know we get people that come up and they'll visit and they'll say things like, well, we love to come up, but if we had a place to charge our vehicle, we would come up more often. So there's actually some grant funding for that, and that's also a project that's identified with this Penn that might help us do that. In particular interest is actually trying to do solar panel based EV charging stations, and so wanted to mention that. The section of road that was removed to repair the ridgepole culvert, that's around 740, which is in the curve. I spoke with Caldwell Construction. They should be up here today to repave that. Of course, as I look outside with the fog on the ground, it's probably gonna be a little bit longer. It should burn off. We should have a nice day today for them to do that. And then the city staff will be doing some paving on ridgepole around the 160 area. That's in that curve. That doesn't take too long to do that. Usually, it'd be limited traffic flow as they prep it. But once the asphalt is, they will have to close the road. Once the asphalt's formed and they roll it, that takes about 20 or 30 minutes to do that. But anybody that needs to go down Ridgepole can take Alpine. If you need to come back up, you can take Alex Mountain back to Knob, which comes back to Sky Valley Way, or you can take Evergreen Southern Road. But that should be happening today. That's had time to settle. And we have about 2 to 3 inches of rain anticipated tomorrow and Thursday, so it is important that we get that done. The business center renovations are still been making progress. I haven't been up there this week. When I was up there last week, they're hanging drywall. It's come along great. Really hasn't been any surprises from a budget expense, and we're still planning on being there sometime early 2023. As you all should have received a copy of the financial report yesterday. As we're getting late in the year, expenditure wise, we should be around 96% or less. With as we are week 50 in our 52-week budget calendar, we're actually tracking around 90%. So we're actually performing well on that. And on the revenue side, we've actually taken in about 106%. So we're actually overperforming on that. So even with every rise in cost, city staff is working hard to manage and monitor our cash input and outlay. Want to say that the city will be closed Friday, December 23rd. And Monday, December 26th, the Christmas holiday. Trash service will commence on Tuesday, December 27th at 8 p.m. regular time. City Hall will be closed on Monday, January 2nd for New Year's, and trash will be picked up on Tuesday, January 3rd, 8 a.m. regular time. I think I said 8 p.m. was 8 a.m. Not 8 p.m. 8 a.m. regular time. So anybody that's listening or may watch this later, trash on the after Christmas be on the 27th at 8 a.m. and on the 3rd at 8 a.m. Would like to state that the planning and zoning meeting that was scheduled for Wednesday, the 21st of this month, has been postponed till Wednesday, January 18th of 23. It's considered to Christmas, folks being out, folks wanting to be involved and provide for public participation. It was felt best that we postpone that. I also want, I see Chief Sigler's here. I want to thank Chief Sigler, Public Works, Officer Bonds with our police department. Yesterday morning, we had a concrete truck, for lack of a better word, was regurgitating wet concrete on Highway 246. It caused a mess. I was able to call Chief Sigler. I was able to call Officer Bonds. I was able to get our public works guys. Fortunately, we've got the snow plows on the Kubotas. We were able to scrape about 80% of that off the road. Chief Sigler and his guys brought their truck and was able to take the water pressure and get that concrete off the road. That had the potential to be a real mess. I was actually out at the road trying to direct people away because they were slipping and sliding in that wet concrete. But again, thank you all. That was a great participation. Finally, I want to introduce everyone to Mr. Jim Power as our new building inspector, code enforcement officer. We had at the sudden passing of Bob, as the mayor said on his funeral, we advertised this position. We actually received several applicants. We interviewed several, and Jim stood out. He does live here in the city. He's got some relevant experience that will prove beneficial, and he is definitely eager to get his applicable building and code enforcement certification. So he's on board. He's already hit the ground running. We've been to some sites. He's actually issued and mounted some permits. So we're very thankful to have that position here. I know he's got big shoes to fill, but we're glad he's here. And Jim, if you want to get up and if you have anything you want to add, I'll stop there.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. As Jason mentioned, my wife and I had a home here for 14 years in Sky Valley. 2.5 years ago, we moved here full time when I retired from Director of Business Development for Port Everglades, the port down in Fort Lauderdale. Prior to that was for 6 years. Prior to that, 14 years with the Tampa Port Authority. I was involved in capital projects and infrastructure. And then before that, I worked with a home builder based out of Central Florida and was involved in everything from the pouring of the slab to issuing a certificate of occupancy. Like Jason also mentioned, did hit the ground running last week, already issued some permits, and looking forward to, as soon as reasonable, getting started on some new certificates, general construction, electrical, plumbing, etc. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to working.
Welcome, Jim. Glad to have you.
And then, thank you, Jim. Finally, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a prosperous year.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, we were going, I was gonna, as the mayor said, we have, as you all know, last year's budget, there was approved a communications special position. This person would be doing everything from public information to helping with the marketing efforts, helping with the website, maintenance, visitor center representative, and even actually kind of becoming our de facto IT person. So, as well as other duties, handling the phone, greeting people, very comprehensive list of things. We had that position, as you know, we had a person, it didn't work out. It's been open for quite some time. We've been very blessed. We have a lady by the name of Sharon Van Camp. Sharon is actually retiring from a long career as an educator, has a lot of similar transferable skills. She should be starting next Monday. And so, in fact, in this labor market we're in, I actually reached out for a couple of times, just trying to keep the contact line warm. And the last time I talked to her, she's still excited to be coming on board. We will definitely be introducing her at the marketing meeting. Other duties would be, she would be taking over the Sky Valley Times, helping with the minutes on the marketing, things like that, to help carry with some members, and then we'll formally introduce her at the January council meeting. So yeah, she's slated to start, and we're excited about that. And again, just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we do have a lot of projects that we're gearing up for, and we anticipate 23 to be a busy year. So,
Will she be the welcome center?
that will be one of our duties, yeah, that, once we get up to the new location, we'll have a dedicated area that we're kind of thinking about, that will probably couple chairs, maybe like a little coffee maker, we'll have some display here, we hope to have some t-shirts and coffee mugs and things like that. Anybody needs to use the bathroom, those kind of an inviting place that people can come in, as they're traveling, because we do get a lot of people come in, a lot of times, am I going the right way to Highlands, or where's the waterfall, or where's the club, or where's this or that, so, we are anticipating that to be a great hospitality economic development tool, we're doing that as well.
Jason, do you, as far as department reports, how you want to handle that?
Well, officer, I don't have the agenda, police department.
We just said department.
Okay.
reports.
Officer Bonds, do you have anything you want to add on the police side?
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody knew, but Officer Brown, our night shift guy, was in an off-duty accident down in Dillard last week. He's been out of work since then. I'm not sure what kind of injuries. I know he said his back and his neck sore. We're not sure when he's coming back. Our new Explorers down in Franklin getting outfitted with lights and sirens, radio, etc. And we've got a new part-timer, Matt Knoll. I've known him for many years. We worked together back at the detention center in 05. So he'll be a good.
How do you spell his last name, Ron?
N-A-L-L.
No.
No, yeah, real good, honest guy.
Mhm.
He's about done with training. I think one more day, right, in the community. He'll be ready for it.
You haven't run him off yet? Ron?
No.
Okay, good. We'll go to hear that.
That's about it.
Well, I hope Officer Brand is gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to touch base with him tonight.
Thank you, Officer. I meant to mention that, Officer Casey's, Officer Brown. I actually was going through the other day and I saw his vehicle. He took a pretty hard hit, so, and add insult to injury, as you all may recall, he actually, was involved in an accident a few months before on the job.
Yeah.
Where he hit a cow.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of, used to pun hard hits, licks, but, he's a tough guy and we wish him well on that. On the public works side, Jerry, asked me to just make a couple of statements. He apologized. He couldn't be here today. They are trying to make hay as the sun's supposed to be shining. With all this rain that we've had, even though it's giving them an opportunity to do a lot of maintenance, oil changes, stuff on it. They've got a little behind on some things, but we are aware that, we have a lot of roads that the leaf backing is sorely overdue. It does not work well with wet leaves, but, it is on our to-do list. Jerry has assured that, that is going to be tackled here very soon. Today, I noticed today when I was leaving to come up here, they had the new roller paver on the trailer, so they're actually going out today, preparing to do some patching pave work. As I mentioned, around 160 Ridgepole, we're doing that. Also hoping to try to tackle some work up around the driver, Bald Mount, Eagle Circle. There's some places up there that we're trying to deal with. But we do have several places that we're looking to get to. It's just we need some accommodating weather. But he did want me to say that that's going on, that they are well aware that they had some water leaks as of late they've had to deal with, but they are well aware that there are things that need to be done. It's just as soon as we can get some nice dry weather, they're going to be on it as quick as they can.
Speaking of weather, we looked at next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't say this word.
We are actually, as I mentioned earlier, we do have the plows on the 350, the 550, and both Kubotas. We've been using this wet weather to kind of get all that stuff in place. We've gotten some salt in. We're trying to get some more in. But we are getting that time of year, as you all know, that cold air and that precipitation mixes the dreaded S word. So, but yeah, looking, in fact, as we get closer to Christmas, there may be some potential for a white Christmas as far as snow. Yeah, but we're, at this time, yeah, we're working hard, or Jerry's guys are working hard to, get all the resources and everything in place to get ready for that. So, yeah, it's that time.
We had some last year on Christmas Eve.
It's getting that time of year. We're very fortunate right now. You know, last year when we had that big snow, well, actually this year back in January, when we had that big snow event, we got a little over a foot of snow. 350 was down, the 550 actually broke up on Bayberry, which is the highest part of the city. And we plowed 29 miles of snow with those Kubotas. They were game changers, but,
I think Jim had some beautiful pictures.
yeah, so so that means everything, not to drag this out, but we are getting this prepared the best we can as quickly as we can. So yeah, yeah, the weather is looking a little, for lack of a better word, dodgy next couple of weeks, but it's that time of year. That's part of the charm of being in Sky Valley.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. Any questions or comments for Jason? All right, committee reports. Gordon's here. You want to give us your marketing committee report?
Thank you again. Good morning. Say it. Well, just a brief update here. We'll talk about Doug Hollingsworth of Gulf Life. And I'll take Mike May wrote an excellent 2-page article about Sky Valley in the recent edition of Gulf Life Central magazine. This article went out to over 100,000 people in the Southeast, mainly Florida. May's article will now go to the New England Gulf that reaches 5 states and has over 80,000 people. Article will also go out to the East Southern Gulf and incoming issues. They have a database of 50,000 and to the Georgia Gulf Travel magazine. Doug is finalizing trips with 4 travel writers to visit Sky Valley next year. He is also working with 2 real estate companies out of Florida to visit Sky Valley next year. So he's got a lot going on. Doug has spoken to Jeff Pages of the Georgia Georgia State Golf Association about how he can do a better job of promoting the Peach Palmetto Ladies event that's coming to Sky Valley next year in October. So this is a big deal how we can get on the map. Doug also has a meeting with the Vice President of Marketing with US Kids Golf about hosting a kids event in Sky Valley. This is really should be a positive thing. So we get, kids got younger people coming out visiting Sky Valley and the possibility to have some impact on real estate. So Doug's got a lot going on. One update about Steve Denver photography. We have a contract with Steve and it will be ending at the end of the year. For the Sky Valley Photo Gallery, Steve has taken more fall photos, videos, drones of hay bales, the new construction of existing homes, fall colors. We got new photos of fall colors, the golf cars, club tapas dinner. We've had several events at the club we've been involved with. And also the final was the city of Sky Valley employees. We got a bunch of photos of them doing various things on that. I think that's going to be positive. At this point, we need the SS, you just said, snow pictures. So maybe that will be working out. We're looking at there. We don't have a lot of photos of snow pictures. So hopefully for us, that'll be able to coordinate that and Steve can come up here and take them. So that's one of the categories we don't have a lot of good photos. And of course, in the winter, it's beautiful here. Talking about promotion, we ran a full page and holiday winter edition of Vacation Guide in the Mountain Magazine. Distribution of over 30,000. We thank Jamie Dara for her creativity in the ad wording and full selection. She's really good at this. To essentially take ads, and now we have, of course, new photos that we can add to it. So Steve coming in, so spruces them up. Fall Fest T-shirts. The marketing committee donated $300 for the cost of print the Sky Valley on the sleeve of the T-shirts. I don't know if you got to see it. I think that was a real positive thing. Most people going around seeing the T-shirts, the comments, money well spent. we are again excited to hear about the hiring of Sharon Van Camp. I think we see him working together in terms of our marketing activities. I think this is really gonna be a positive thing for us in terms of marketing, we're working together. Finally, it'll be Sky Valley budget. We have the marketing committee has been working together, and we will be approving the review and approving the budget, our budget in December the 29th. And our hope is that we can then present it for approval next city council meeting. So that'll be coming up in January. So we'll have a whole plan for the year, and I think the budget looks good, looks sound, and we'll present it to you.
Thank you, Gordon.
Any questions at all about what's happening? Good.
Good job.
Thank you. I have to leave for meet my granddaughter. Yeah, but thank you. Appreciate your support on it.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bruce. Anything about special projects?
Yeah, the only thing that we have going now is doing some groundwork for next year's Fall Fest. A few of us have met. We have a letter going out to announce the date and sending out invitations because a lot of these vendors accept invitations about a year in advance. So we're going to get out in front of that. And that's about it. On Friday of this week, at 10 o'clock, we're going to meet at the junction, Bella's, to do a city cleanup from the front entrance down to 246. We try really, because of the rain and et cetera, it's impeded us, but any volunteers, I typically go down to Forward Raven and get bags, gloves, vests, and pinchers, picker-uppers. So I'll have all that stuff. So just bring yourself, and usually takes hour, maybe hour and a half to clean it up. Police would be appreciated just to kind of shadow us. Tim and I usually do the 246 down to the new city hall. It's treacherous, the footing's bad, and I do know that the zip line has a sign on 246 to adopt the highway, and I'll check with George Powell, who owns that, to see what his plans are. He has a lot of young kids that he has do that are a little more adept at that poor footing. But yeah, if we can have some somebody shadow us, that'd be great.
What day was
This is this Friday, starting at 10.
Thank you.
On the Fall Fest, did you get everybody back together and talk about what was good, what was bad, all that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all of them. Trash was an issue. We need more trash receptacles.
Need golf carts at work.
Well, we're gonna need more golf carts. Jim and Dottie have talked to the scouts and to, I guess there's a Boys of Raven or whatever. And there seems to be positive feedback that they can come up and they can help some of the vendors put up their tents, run and get food for them, maybe talking to the club to do box lunches, as well as we're gonna get 2 food trucks. But yeah, there are some things. Parking is something that we're gonna have to figure out. We're just gonna decide whether or not we're gonna go through with a car show, if that's feasible. Grace would probably be the first person to spearhead that, but she's president of the club now. So yeah, we're talking about things.
President of POA.
Yeah. To see what we can remedy. Communication is definitely mapping so people know that, where everything is. I kind of dropped the ball on that, but yeah, we're working on things. And I know Dottie and Jim have sent out to a lot of the vendors letters for feedback. Do that. Good.
I thought it went remarkably well for our first one in such a long time. It was well received and I'm looking forward to
Stumbled into something good.
stumbled into something good. That's right.
Well, you did a good job.
Yeah, it did. You worked
Managing
hard.
that process.
The whole committee worked.
Lot to do.
Yeah,
Did a great job.
strong committee.
Yes, it was. Okay, you know what, let's move on to new business, and the first item on new business is consider the approval of the resolution to update or amend the Sky Valley financial policy. We discussed it at our workshop this morning, just real briefly, for those who might be online or here who did not hear the discussion. Jason, could you just review the rationale for why you want to update and summarize the proposed changes?
Just Mayor, Councilor, we have two people, online right now, actually one of them is Council Curtis. But to kind of rehash this was discussed in detail at the work session, but essentially, the financial policy was adopted in 2005 by resolution. So it's getting close to 20 years old. A lot of the thresholds, spending thresholds, it is important to have a financial policy, but a lot of the spending, being almost 20 years old, it kind of puts the city into reactive versus proactive mode, particularly when we need to make timely expenditures. And I did a little comparison at the work session, and just provide a little detail. For example, $100,000, which you typically would consider a capital purchase. In 2022, $100,000 was equal to about 65,000 in 2005 expenditures. If you flip that, what would cost $100,000 in 2005 is now upwards of $150,000 to $160,000. So costs have increased exponentially. And to summarize, we've asked for some administrative spending threshold increases. Department heads from 1,000, 2,000, city manager position from 5,000 to 15,000. We've asked for a caveat that we could go up to 25,000 with the mayor approval upon a recommendation of city manager. And then that would be reported at the next meeting. And then as existing, anything $25,000 or more requires city council approval. The only difference is that we would increase the aspect that you have to go to sealed bids. It would go to $100,000 for sealed. It would still require council approval, but the threshold would go much higher. We have found, particularly early in the year, when we had 4 sealed bids for the building renovation, for the paving of Evergreen, the Southern Road. We had a bid proposal request for a new vehicle for Public Works, and then construction of the pickleball court, where we were actually able to get successfully get sealed bid proposals for the renovation that was up right around 90,000. The road paving, which was well over 100, but the proposal, we were not successful in getting a sealed bid for the construction of the third court, even though we got several unofficial, which were around the $40,000 range. We did not get any bid proposals for a vehicle, which was going to be around that 40,000 to 50,000. And from talking to some of these vendors, that low amount is just not worth their time to do it. So again, it kind of puts us in a reactive mode where we have to run those ads in the paper, incur those costs, kind of slows things down. And then again, a lot of vendors just aren't interested in doing that. So by going to keeping it $25,000, we still try to get anything over that. We still do our due diligence to try to get 3 reasonable bids. We would just be increasing up to 100,000 for the sealed bid. That aligns itself with the state, as well as the county, who I think is actually maybe going to 150. As you all know, we have been benefiting from some of the T-SPLOST stuff. With some of those funds coming in, we've actually identified several roads that need immediate attention. That as we're creating our priorities for next year, we've actually gotten some quotes, and several of those quotes are over 25,000, but they're under 100. So that's another rationale for that. Obviously, we would try to get other quotes as well, but it will allow us to be more proactive. Allow us. It's still the checks and balances. It still requires it to come before the council, transparent before vote, but it just kind of minimizes some of those other things that kind of slow the process down.
Thank you, Jason. I need a motion to approve this resolution as presented with minor wordage changes suggested by Jim.
I would, well, I would make the motion that we approve.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Any discussion? All right.
I don't have anybody with comments on the line, but in the audience.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jim. We heard you, Jim. Thank you. All right. Let's go to consider the appointment of Martin Green by Sky Valley to be our Sky Valley representative on the Reagan County Water and Sewer Authority Board. Currently, we had Mr. Tim Dara. He was our rep for several years and did a wonderful job, but because of the Reagan County Water and Sewer Board's charter, it reads that if he is a member on council, he cannot be our rep. So I begged Martin Green, who is a retired engineer and has been involved in our city for a very long time. In fact, he was on council at one point, to consider it, and eventually I twisted his arm and he said yes. And so with great pleasure, I asked him to ask for a motion for appointing Martin to be our rep on this board.
I so moved.
Thank you, Tim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any discussion? He's a good man. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Thank you, Jim. Public forum and general comments. Anybody need to make a general or not general comment? Yes, sir. Would you recognize yourself and give your address?
I recognize myself in the mirror, but other than that, not responsible for me. Ken Stigler, 79 Evergreen Lane. The concern I have is the usual bane of my existence, the Evergreen extension. Due to the increased flow in traffic, the liability to the city is increased also if we don't start taking care of a couple little things. One is a stop sign at Rescue and Evergreen. It actually is an unprotected intersection because of the way the stop sign faces.
Okay.
People coming up Evergreen don't have to stop, and people coming down Rescue don't have to stop. All right. Those of you that know Jim and Dottie Rose, they live beyond that stop sign. Well, Dottie's the one who's going to take it in the teeth when somebody comes up there and goes through that sign. It just needs to be turned 90 degrees. And that's about it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, man.
Ken, on that same vein, the new Evergreen sign at Crusher Run, take a look at that. I know it's there, but it's kind of hard to spot, especially in the dark. You know, it sits on top of the stop sign. I don't know if just redirection it or position it, but it's tough to spot sometimes during the day, even more difficult in the evening.
Not just for the sake of relative discussion, Steve Shields, who is the safety rep for the GMA, Georgia Municipal Association, as well as the ACCG, Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. He visited with us back a month or so ago, and he has given us a list of things that we need to look at. And so I just preface that. So there are, one of those things are stop signs. We have several stop signs that really, they're too low, they need to be raised up. We have some stop signs that need to be swapped out to be reflective. So that stop signs are on our radar. So we will definitely address the sign there at Evergreen Rescue. But there are some things that we will be bringing to you all early 23 that are part of those recommendations. Of course, that all ties into our liability or insurance, et cetera. So I just want to share that, but we'll definitely look at that ASAP.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I need a motion for adjournment.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you, Tony. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on it?
No.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, great meeting. Thank you all.